met my wife in Miami.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was living there.
Damn. Who says you can't meet your wife in Miami? You gave me hope now, because everyone says you can't meet your wife in Miami.
UFC fighters finally reveal what they really thought about Illia Topuria's wife, now that it looks like the couple are actually done for good. Spoiler, they aren't full of praises for her. And considering how things ended, it's pretty understandable. We've got the full scoop, so let's get right into it. The power couple that captured hearts. In the world of mixed martial arts, where violence is currency and vulnerability is often perceived as weakness, certain love stories manage to transcend the brutality of the octagon and capture the imagination of fight fans worldwide. The relationship between UFC lightweight champion Illia Topuria and entrepreneur Georgina Badel was precisely that kind of story. A seemingly unshakable bond that weathered the storms of fame, fortune, and the relentless pressure of championship-level competition. But as October 2025 draws to a close, that fairy tale narrative has been shattered by whispers, social media deletions, and a deafening silence from both parties that speaks volumes louder than any official statement ever could. To truly understand the seismic impact of this alleged breakup, we must first journey back to the beginning, to the vibrant streets of Miami where their paths first crossed. It was around 2018 when Topuria, then an emerging mixed martial arts prospect, met Badel in Miami's bustling nightlife and social scene. At the time, Topuria was grinding away in the trenches of the sport, training relentlessly and competing in the United States with dreams of UFC glory dancing in his head. Badel, on the other hand, was already carving out her own impressive path as a Venezuelan-born entrepreneur, deeply immersed in Florida's competitive entrepreneurial circles and building what would eventually become a business empire. In a rare moment of personal vulnerability during a 2024 interview on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, Topuria described their initial encounter as occurring at a dinner, where they soon ended up falling in love. With the earnestness that has become characteristic of his public persona, he called meeting her one of the greatest gifts God has given me, crediting her with providing the emotional grounding that would prove essential as he navigated the rigorous demands of elite-level fight camps and the psychological warfare that comes with competing at the highest levels of the sport. But who exactly is Georgina Badel, and what made her the perfect partner for one of the UFC's most dominant champions? Far from being merely the fighter's girlfriend, Badel is the founder and CEO of Future and Energy, a company specializing in sustainable solutions like advanced water purification systems and alkaline water products, with operations spanning 28 U.S. states. Her entrepreneurial ambitions extended beyond a single venture, as she also manages operations in real estate restoration and social media marketing. Her LinkedIn profile reveals the depth of her involvement in their shared life, highlighting her role in overseeing the entire business structure of our family, including financial and legal aspects. With over 684,000 Instagram followers, Badel cultivated a substantial social media presence that went far beyond vapid influencer culture. Her content thoughtfully blended family moments, animal welfare advocacy, faith-based messages, and wellness tips, often interweaving her professional ethos of sustainability with personal advocacy for Christian values. In many ways, she represented the modern entrepreneur, savvy, multifaceted, and unafraid to use her platform for purposes beyond self-promotion.
This is unbelievable. What is it like seeing your significant, can I ask your girlfriend, your significant other getting punched in the face? Does that make you sick to your stomach? I would throw up if it was me.
To be honest, I felt really bad, but for the other guy, because I knew that he was gonna...
This chilling yet somehow romantic declaration from Badel perfectly encapsulated the unique dynamic of their relationship. Here was a woman who had reconciled herself to the violent nature of her partner's profession, who could watch him inflict calculated damage on another human being and frame it not as brutality, but as inevitability. It was a statement that went viral across social media platforms, with fans marveling at the cold-blooded confidence and unwavering support it demonstrated.
I was saying, like, baby, you should have a little bit of mercy.
Oh my gosh. Did you have mercy?
Well, honestly, he couldn't have mercy because the guy that was supposed to stop the fight never did it. So
right.
If one needs to die, it's not gonna be my guy.
Oh my gosh. I like this. This is a little trash talking here. This is nice.
The sentiment, "So if one needs to die, it's not going to be my guy," became one of the most memorable quotes in recent UFC relationship history, showcasing Badel's sympathy for Topuria's opponents, but her unwavering support for his competitive grit. It was simultaneously terrifying and touching, a declaration that transcended typical sports partner platitudes and ventured into something far more primal and profound. Their early courtship was marked by the kind of logistical challenges that would break lesser relationships. Frequent travel between Miami, Alicante, where Badel maintains a residence, and Topuria's training base in Spain became the norm rather than the exception. Yet somehow they made it work. By 2019, they welcomed their son Hugo into the world, marking what appeared to be a deeply committed phase of their relationship, despite no public confirmation of exclusivity at the time. The arrival of their daughter Georgina in July 2024 seemed to solidify their bond even further, creating a family unit that appeared unbreakable from the outside looking in. Badel has spoken candidly about the unique challenges of balancing Topuria's violent profession with family life, offering rare glimpses into the emotional complexity of loving someone whose job involves inflicting and receiving physical trauma. She articulated the delicate balance required, the sympathy she couldn't help but feel for the men her partner was about to hurt, juxtaposed against her fierce protective instincts and support for the man she loved. Public glimpses of their relationship emerged sporadically but memorably throughout their years together. There was a 2023 red carpet appearance at the Premio Lo Nuestro Awards, where they looked every bit the power couple, dressed to the nines and radiating the kind of confidence that comes from mutual success and genuine affection. Fans captured moments of her post-fight embrace after Topuria's unanimous decision over Josh Emmett at UFC on ABC5 in June 2023, the raw emotion on both their faces telling a story that words never could. The relationship deepened visibly with Badel's pregnancy announcements in late 2023, including a chic baby shower in Spain that she shared on Instagram, giving followers an intimate look at their growing family. By mid-2024, as Topuria's star continued its meteoric rise through the UFC's featherweight division, Badel began referring to him as husband in captions, sparking intense speculation about whether they had secretly tied the knot. This brings us to one of the most intriguing aspects of their relationship: the mystery surrounding their marital status. Early rumors surfaced in February 2024, around the time of UFC 298, when Spanish outlet Marca reported they had already tied the knot, though without specifics on date or location. This aligned perfectly with Badel's use of husband in her social media posts, but curiously, no wedding photos, announcements, or public ceremonies ever materialized. Fans speculated about a low-key 2024 ceremony, possibly in Miami or Alicante, given their jet-setting lifestyle and Badel's pregnancy that year. The speculation reached fever pitch when Topuria explicitly stated on the MMA Hour in June 2025 that they were officially married, dispelling girlfriend labels but offering no details on the ceremony. Throughout all of this, their professional lives continued to flourish in tandem. Topuria's rise through the UFC ranks was nothing short of spectacular. His knockout victory over Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 298 in February 2024 captured the featherweight title, establishing him as one of the sport's most dangerous finishers. He followed this up with a devastating knockout of Max Holloway at UFC 308 in October 2024, silencing critics who questioned whether his success against Volkanovski was a fluke. The culmination came when he knocked out Charles Oliveira at UFC 317 in June 2025 to claim the lightweight title, becoming one of the few fighters to hold championships in multiple weight classes simultaneously. Through every victory, every post-fight interview, every championship celebration, Badel was there. Their bond seemed fortified by deeply shared values. Topuria's devout Christianity aligned seamlessly with Badel's faith-driven posts, with both frequently referencing God's plan and divine providence in their social media presence. Badel has credited Topuria's discipline as inspiration for her business expansions, while Topuria spoke of her as his anchor during the mental warfare of fight camps.
Does anybody get under your skin? You know what that means? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody that knows to say something that triggers. They see your face is saying something though.
I think the only person is my wife, probably. She's the only person. No one else, I think.
Seriously?
I think so.
That's very good.
Yeah.
You know, because you know that is a big strength of a lot of great ones were like that. Some of it wanted it. Some people wanted it. Like Michael Jordan's was, he wanted you to say something to him. Yeah. And then he would convince himself that you said something about him really bad. And then he wanted to kill you. That's what Michael would talk about. You know?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he was playing basketball.
Right.
This admission from Topuria, that only his wife could truly get under his skin, spoke volumes about the depth of their connection and the unique position she held in his life. In a sport where mental fortitude and emotional control are paramount, the fact that he acknowledged her singular ability to affect him emotionally demonstrated a level of trust and vulnerability rarely seen from elite fighters. To the outside world, they represented everything a modern power couple should be. Their partnership exemplified a dynamic where Topuria's physical dominance complemented Badel's intellectual and entrepreneurial drive. She leveraged her platform for advocacy. Posts on animal welfare and sustainability often tagged Topuria, blending their brands in ways that felt organic rather than calculated. Financially, her role in the family business structure suggested a symbiotic empire, with Topuria's $2M plus net worth amplified by their joint ventures. They seemed to have it all: love, success, family, faith, and a shared vision for the future. Which makes what happened next all the more shocking and difficult to comprehend for the millions of fans who had invested emotionally in their story. The cracks begin to show. As we transition into the autumn of 2025, specifically the first week of October, the UFC community found itself witnessing something that many thought impossible: the apparent dissolution of one of mixed martial arts' most admired relationships. What began as whispers and speculation on the darkest corners of Reddit quickly exploded into a full-blown social media firestorm that dominated MMA discourse for days, overshadowing even discussions of upcoming championship fights and high-profile matchmaking. The catalyst for this explosion of speculation came on October 6, 2025, when a Reddit user on Reddit posted that the relationship was over. The post highlighted something that eagle-eyed fans had begun noticing. Badel had removed all their pictures together from Instagram, while Topuria maintained only one post featuring them together, and even that image included their children. El Debate published a piece on October 9th with the devastating headline, "The Love Story of Illia Topuria and Georgina Uzcategui That Comes to an End," treating the breakup as a fait accompli, despite the lack of official confirmation from either party. Badel's apparent social media purge left a crucial detail that suggested the situation might be more nuanced than a complete severing of ties. They still followed each other on Instagram. No unfollows or blocks had occurred. This seemingly small detail, the maintenance of mutual follows, sparked intense debate among fans about what it might signify. Was it a sign of amicable co-parenting? A suggestion that reconciliation might be possible? Or simply an oversight in the heat of an emotional moment? The ambiguity only fueled more speculation and analysis. Competing theories about the cause of the alleged breakup began emerging from various corners of the MMA community. The allegations that gained the most traction, though entirely unsubstantiated and lacking any concrete evidence, centered around infidelity. These whispers, primarily circulating on platforms like X, Reddit, and Sherdog forums, painted narratives of betrayal, with accusations pointed predominantly at Topuria for alleged extramarital texting or encounters, and less frequently at Badel for supposed emotional or physical unfaithfulness. The most recurrent allegations centered on supposed phone betrayals by Topuria. Social media posts, some satirical and others apparently serious, suggested he had been caught texting other women. Some rumors tied alleged indiscretions to the aftermath of UFC 317, claiming Topuria partied with models in Vegas following his lightweight title victory, though these allegations remained entirely in the realm of anonymous forum speculation, without any photographic evidence or credible eyewitness accounts emerging. Less prevalent but equally damaging were allegations directed at Badel herself, often rooted in misogynistic tropes that portrayed her as a gold digger, who had leveraged Topuria's success for her own benefit. These narratives conveniently ignored her established career pre-Topuria, including real estate agent roles at Douglas Elliman and a business administration degree from Suffolk University, painting a picture of a woman who was already successful in her own right before meeting the fighter. A particularly awkward video that resurfaced during this period added fuel to the speculation fire. The clip from a podcast appearance with the Nelk Boys that had occurred months earlier showed a moment that many fans now interpreted through the lens of the breakup rumors as prophetic or revealing.
Actually, I met my wife in Miami.
Really?
Yeah, she was living there.
Damn. Who says you can't meet your wife in Miami?
You can find your
That
wife.
was so awkward. The way Kyle from Nelk Boys was like, really? Like, oh my gosh, that is so kind of like embarrassing for Illia Topuria. And he's doing that smile like clearly he didn't appreciate that comment, and he says straight away, you can meet your wife anywhere in the world, guys.
You hear that? Put that on Only in Dade on Instagram. You can meet your wife in Miami.
The Nelk Boys' reaction to Topuria revealing he met his wife in Miami with their surprised "really" and apparent skepticism, struck many viewers as disrespectful, playing into stereotypes about Miami's party culture and the type of relationships that might form there. Topuria's visible discomfort in the clip and his defensive response demonstrated that he was well aware of these stereotypes and annoyed by their implication.
His face is like he's ready for a knockout.
Why are you saying that?
Huh?
Why are you saying that?
Everyone says that.
Because you.
And then he's like, oh, why are you saying that? And it's funny how they all just like stop and freeze and are like turning around, looking kind of scared. Like, look at their faces.
To a party, and this is the only place you see.
I love how Illia Topuria then was like, well, you guys just go to parties and like that's only the kind of women you'll come across.
Throughout this period of intense speculation, Spanish media outlets like Mundo Deportivo reported on October 10th about Badel's message after news broke, though the actual content remained vague and open to interpretation. 20minutos.es confirmed ruptura, breakup, via unnamed insiders, but deemed it not definitive, adding another layer of ambiguity to an already murky situation. Perhaps most tellingly, neither Topuria nor Badel issued any official statement addressing the rumors. This silence, while consistent with their long-established pattern of keeping their personal lives private, only served to intensify speculation and fill the information vacuum with increasingly wild theories. Topuria's October 10th Instagram post, a stoic training clip captioned, "The king is coming, nobody's safe," was parsed for hidden meanings by thousands of fans, with some interpreting it as defiant focus on his career, others seeing it as deflection from personal turmoil, and still others reading it as barely contained rage that would soon be unleashed in the octagon. Badel's social media feeds shifted noticeably during this period, prioritizing business content and solo family shots over the couple content that had previously been common. This digital austerity, as some outlets termed it, was interpreted by many as confirmation of the split, though it could equally be seen as a natural desire for privacy during a difficult personal period, assuming there was indeed a split to be private about. The credibility of these infidelity allegations and breakup theories remained highly questionable at best. As the Sportster noted in their October 6th analysis, the evidence was entirely circumstantial social media evidence, not fact. Legal United States echoed this sentiment. No official statement, rumors remain unconfirmed, emphasizing the importance of distinguishing between fan speculation and verified information. The aftermath and what it means for a champion. As the dust continues to settle on these explosive October revelations, or should we say allegations, given the persistent lack of official confirmation, the UFC community finds itself grappling with a question that extends far beyond gossip and speculation. What does this alleged breakup mean for Illia Topuria's career, his legacy, and his immediate fighting future? In a sport where the mental game often matters just as much as, if not more than, physical prowess, the potential psychological impact of a relationship collapse cannot be overstated or dismissed as merely tabloid fodder. The speculation on morale impacts ignited immediately alongside the breakup rumors, with Reddit users zeroing in on psychological fallout.
Actually, I met my wife in Miami.
Really?
Yeah, she was living there.
Damn. Who says you can't meet your wife in Miami?
But you can find your wife in any place in the world.
A lot of fighting is mental, and going through a divorce is going to screw with you mentally. This concern is far from baseless alarmism. History is littered with examples of elite fighters whose personal lives derailed their professional trajectories, sometimes permanently. Consider the cautionary tale of Jessica Andrade, who in 2023 openly discussed how her divorce had affected her performances. She admitted, "Maybe came because of that for not being with my head 100%, as she endured 3 consecutive losses amid the financial and emotional devastation of marital dissolution. Or look at the heartbreaking case of Alexei Oleinik, the 80-fight veteran who, in 2025, revealed that his ex-wife had taken everything in their divorce battle, leaving him destitute after a long and distinguished career. At 47 years old, Oleinik stated, "I can no longer perform at the same level due to my age and health," attributing his decline not just to age, but to the emotional and financial ruin wrought by his divorce. Perhaps most relevant to Topuria's situation is Mackenzie Dern, whose 2023 custody battles and divorce proceedings clearly affected her focus and performance. She described the situation bluntly. "This whole fight is still paying my ex," highlighting how the bureaucratic and financial aspects of divorce can create distractions that persist long after the initial separation. Dern noted, "We always have problems," describing an ongoing struggle that made it difficult to achieve the mental clarity necessary for championship-level competition. For Topuria specifically, The potential impact could be particularly severe, given the unique role Bedell played in his life and career. This wasn't just a romantic partner, but someone he described as his best friend and world champion confidant, someone who actively participated in his camp preparations, from meal planning to emotional support during the grueling isolation of training camps. She provided ballast against what Topuria himself has described as the mental war of preparing for fights, helping reconcile his devout Christian beliefs with the brutality required in his profession. The loss of this anchor could manifest in multiple destructive ways. Emotionally, the void left by her absence might trigger grief, anger, or feelings of betrayal, particularly if the infidelity allegations, however unsubstantiated, have any basis in reality. These emotions could lead to insomnia, loss of appetite, or conversely, hyperaggression that might seem beneficial for fighting, but could actually represent a loss of the calculated control that has defined Topuria's most successful performances. One ex-user speculated, "If anything, I see it affecting him negatively. He's just also probably not going to be overconfident anymore," suggesting that the psychological impact might manifest as uncharacteristic hesitation or self-doubt. The practical disruptions could be equally damaging. Topuria's training regimen thrives on family rituals, post-training interactions with son Hugo, 6, and daughter Georgina, 15 months. Routines that provide structure and motivation beyond mere championship ambition. A breakup could fragment this carefully constructed support system, diverting mental and emotional energy toward custody arrangements, financial negotiations, and legal matters at precisely the moment when he needs to be 100% focused on his next opponent. And who is that next opponent? All signs point to Justin Gaethje, with rumors of a January 2026 bout for UFC 324 circulating throughout the MMA media landscape. Gaethje represents perhaps the most dangerous test of Topuria's career thus far. A violent, experienced former interim champion, known for his ability to drag fighters into deep waters and break their will through relentless pressure and devastating power. Gaethje has been gunning for that UFC lightweight title since Khabib's days, and has reportedly stated that if he doesn't get this title shot, he will retire, meaning he has nothing to lose and everything to gain. The timing could hardly be worse for Topuria. Training camps for championship fights typically last 8-12 weeks, meaning if the fight is indeed scheduled for January 2026, Topuria should be entering or already deep into preparation. Instead, he's potentially dealing with the emotional fallout of a relationship collapse, all while the entire MMA world watches, speculates, and, in some corners, hopes for his downfall as perverse entertainment. Fan reactions on social media have been predictably split, with some expressing genuine concern while others engage in dark humor. Givmesport captured one prevailing sentiment: freshly dumped Ilia might kill a few dudes in the cage. The idea being that heartbreak and rage might actually fuel more devastating performances. Memes about heartbroken Ilia becoming a new mythical fighter, a term the MMA community uses for hypothetical versions of fighters under specific emotional or physical circumstances, spread rapidly across X and Reddit, with users half joking, half serious about whether personal devastation might unlock even greater violence in the octagon. This theory isn't entirely without precedent. Some fighters have indeed channeled personal pain into professional excellence, using the cage as an outlet for emotions they can't process elsewhere. However, the more common outcome is distraction, diminished performance, and losses that derail careers at crucial moments. The question becomes, which Illia Topuria will show up if and when he faces Gaethje, the focused, technically brilliant champion who dismantled Volkanovski, Holloway, and Oliveira, or a distracted, emotionally compromised version susceptible to Gaethje's pressure and power? There are some reasons for optimism regarding Topuria's ability to weather this storm. He has demonstrated resilience in the face of professional challenges before. In May 2025, just before his fight with Oliveira, Topuria split from his longtime coaches, the Clement brothers, a change that could have been disastrous but ultimately didn't affect his performance. Additionally, Topuria has significant support systems beyond his romantic relationship. His brother Alexandra made his own UFC debut in February 2025, providing family solidarity within the sport itself. His devout Christian faith, which he frequently references as the source of his strength, could provide spiritual grounding during this difficult period. And from a purely practical standpoint, his over $2 million net worth means he has financial resources to handle any legal or custody matters without the desperate, fighting-to-pay divorce cost situation that plagued fighters like Andrade and Dern. Perhaps most importantly, Topuria has been extremely deliberate about maintaining boundaries between his public and private lives, explicitly stating that family matters are off-limits to media drama. This suggests a level of compartmentalization that might serve him well now. An ability to separate personal turmoil from professional obligations, to enter the gym and the octagon as a fighter first, and a man working through relationship issues second. What makes this entire situation particularly poignant is how it illustrates the impossible position that public figures find themselves in regarding their personal lives. Topuria and Badel worked hard to maintain privacy, sharing only selective glimpses of their relationship on their own terms. They never staged paparazzi photo shoots, never sold their wedding photos to magazines, never monetized their relationship beyond the organic brand synergy that came from both being successful in their own right. Yet despite these efforts, the very fact of their public profiles meant that when trouble arose, or even when trouble was merely suspected, they had no control over the narrative. For Badel, this situation is particularly cruel. A successful entrepreneur in her own right, with a company operating in 28 US states and multiple business ventures, she now finds her professional accomplishments overshadowed by speculation about her personal life. The misogynistic undertones in some of the discourse, the gold digger accusations, the victim blaming regarding alleged infidelity, reflect poorly on corners of the MMA fanbase and demonstrate how women in particular pay a heavy price for being associated with famous fighters. For Topuria, the stakes are different but equally high. He stands at a crossroads in his career, having achieved what few fighters ever accomplish: simultaneous championship reigns in multiple weight classes, an undefeated record, and recognition as one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world. The Gaethje fight, whenever it materializes, represents an opportunity to further cement his legacy. But it also represents a moment of vulnerability, a test not just of his fighting skills, but of his mental fortitude in the face of personal adversity. As Essentially Sports noted regarding his October 10th training post, fans are still worried about his marriage, despite his apparent focus on the next fight. This worry stems from genuine concern for a fighter many have come to admire, but it also reflects an uncomfortable reality. In the social media age, there is no longer any clear boundary between a fighter's personal life and professional career. Everything bleeds together, amplified and distorted by the echo chamber of online discourse. The human story at the center of all this speculation deserves empathy rather than judgment. If they are indeed going through a separation, they are doing so while raising 2 young children and managing the intense pressures of their respective careers, all under the microscopic scrutiny of millions of strangers. If they're working through difficulties but remaining together, they're doing so with the added burden of having those efforts dissected and doubted publicly. And if the whole thing is a massive misunderstanding blown out of proportion by social media deletions, they're learning a painful lesson about the impossibility of privacy in the digital age. For the UFC community, this situation serves as a reminder that the fighters we cheer for and against are human beings with complex personal lives that exist beyond their performances in the octagon. The same violence that makes mixed martial arts compelling as a sport creates unique challenges for the athletes who practice it and their families who support them. The mental and emotional toll of this career, which Badel herself has spoken about, doesn't end when the fighter leaves the cage. As January 2026 approaches and the potential Gaethje fight looms, the MMA world will be watching Illia Topuria with perhaps more interest than ever before. Not just to see if his striking remains sharp and his wrestling defense holds up, but to see if the man can separate personal heartbreak from professional obligation. To see if he can channel whatever pain he might be experiencing into the focused violence that has defined his career. The outcome of that fight, should it happen, will tell us something about Topuria as a fighter, but it will also tell us something about the human capacity to perform under pressure, to compartmentalize trauma, to function at the highest level, even when the foundation of one's personal life may be crumbling. In the end, whether this story concludes with reconciliation, permanent separation, or some more nuanced outcome, it has already served as a powerful reminder of the price of fame and the impossible demands we place on public figures to be simultaneously authentic and perfectly composed, human and superhuman, vulnerable and invincible. Ilia Topuria and Georgina Badel deserved better than to have their relationship become public entertainment. But in the world of combat sports in 2025, privacy is perhaps the one opponent that no champion can defeat. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to watch another fascinating video like this, click on one of the boxes on your screen right now.